Welcome to Leading Entrepreneurs of the World. I'm Stelios Hatzakis, CEO of One Business World. Leading Entrepreneurs of the World features entrepreneurs, founders, and business leaders presenting on cutting-edge topics and the latest industry developments. Today, we're very pleased to welcome leading entrepreneur and CEO, Sue Ozdemir. One of the world's recognized leaders in the innovation and manufacturing of electric motors, Sue has 9 years of accomplishments at General Electric, acting as CCO and the CEO of GE's Small Industrial Motors Division, overseeing the division's North American and international markets, ultimately building the division into a $160 million enterprise. At Exro, Sue and her team built groundbreaking technologies that pioneer the way energy is managed as the world transitions to electrification with electric motors and batteries. Exro's technology is the first of its kind in the motor and generator drive technology field. With the intelligence to reconfigure electric machines in real time, Exro's patented technology expands the capabilities for electric powertrains. Sue will be speaking with us today about the path toward intelligent electrification. Sue, the world is moving rapidly toward electrification, and thank you so much for joining us to speak more about this very interesting and exciting topic. We're very happy to have you here and hear more about your and your team's efforts to develop smart technologies that expand the capabilities and improve the performance of electric motors, generators, and batteries. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is a great pleasure.
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody today and to talk about myself and a little bit about Exro and kind of give you some information about where we're heading and what we're doing. So Exro is a clean tech company. We've created a new type of controller. I like to call it a new brain for electric motors, batteries, and generators. As we look towards the industry right now and what's happening and how intelligent electrification is kind of changing the way we look at everything from the vehicle itself to how it connects to the grid. Really, electric vehicles are changing the world that we live in. They're changing the way that we look at the world. So from an Exro perspective, what we do is we've created a new type of control system, different types of controls for electric vehicles and batteries that are able to provide different torque and speed performances for electric motors. How we do that is we use concepts and physics of electric motors and we apply them to the power electronics. So if you think about intelligent electrification, specifically related to the industry of electric vehicles, you have not just the vehicle manufacturers like a GM or a Tesla and the tier one manufacturers, trying to race to keep up with the demand for electric vehicles, but you also have it coming worldwide regulations where governments are making significant regulations against reduction of CO2, net zero targets as early as 2025 and into 2040. We see large automotive manufacturers that are announcing that the majority of their manufacturing will start to convert to electric as early as 2025. And when we think about all that, we really have to dig inside and say, what's driving that electrification? What's driving these vehicles, whether it's a bike or a car or a bus or a train? It's the electric motors, it's the electric power system that goes in it. As we think about what is it that is in, what drives an electric powertrain? When you think about that, what you want to think about is inside every electric vehicle is a combination of 5 key components that electrifies that takes it from a combustion to an electric engine. The 5 key components in any powertrain are a battery, what's called an inverter, a standard motor. In the bigger equipment, we'll see a gearbox, and then the wheels. With our patented technology, what we're doing is enabling intelligent electrification. We're enabling that same powertrain to be smarter about how it consumes energy. For Exro, that kind of thinking is really, as a leader, what led me to really think about our vision and our mission statements and how we drive the company. And so we are driven by our vision, our DNA, to change the way the world looks at energy consumption. And we do that through our mission of minimum energy, and maximum results. So all of our controllers are really driving the ability to use energy smarter, to be able to get more out of less energy consumed. So if we go back to that classic powertrain with a battery and inverter, motor, gearbox, and wheels, what happens is you'd convert out the traditional inverters that are on the market, and you'd utilize our new Exro Inverter to create a whole new brain for the system. Our brain allows a system to now use one motor to optimize the performance. So you're going to get a very optimized performance, low-end torque, and for high-end speed. Most manufacturers on the market today are announcing EVs that have 2 or more motors in the powertrain. Everything from the new Tesla Plaid to the new platforms announced by GM to a Porsche Taycan is using one motor in the front for torque, one motor in the back for speed. In some cases, like in the Porsche Taycan, you'll see gearboxes in both ends. This is all great technology, and it's all moving in the right direction. It's all taking us into that cleaner world that we want to see, that reduction of emissions. But what they're really doing is compensating for what they have on the market today to meet this demand, to keep up with these regulations. And with our technology, we've enabled the opportunity to think about that powertrain in a whole new way. You can now take out that inverter, use our Exro Inverter, optimize one motor, and now you can have the option to reduce or eliminate out your motors, to reduce or eliminate out your gearing, and to be able to gear it electronically through the power electronics. This is huge for the market as it can deliver not just optimized performance, it gives a cost-effective solution as we reduce out heavy mechanical components. It gives better operating positions where we're able to now climb hills and navigate terrain that vehicles are used to. If you think about electric motors in general, they were created more for an industrial application, a very static application, where now in the electric vehicle world, what we're finding is a very dynamic application. So you're going to see that need to be able to react on the fly. A truck or a car needs to be able to automatically say, I need torque as I'm climbing up the hill, or today the road is snowy and I need to react. Our switching, our gearing happens instantly on the fly as needed by the application. If you think about why this matters, I always like to kind of pull back one level and say, imagine riding a bike. If you're riding a bike up a hill, your legs get pretty tired. That's just in a normal bike that most people recognize riding from when they were younger now. If we apply that now to the electrification movement, as that bike climbs up the hill, you're going to be feeling that drain on the battery. Even the best technology in the market is going to see that drain on the battery. When we scale that up to buses, as buses start to take effect, we see governments again worldwide saying that fleets are going to be completely electric in the coming decade. But those buses actually degrade their battery as they climb up the hill. So now rather than do cost prohibitive solutions like increasing a battery or increasing the size of the gearboxes, manufacturers will have another option. They can be smarter about how they look at their power electronics. They can look into what our patented technology brings to be able to climb a hill at speed, pulling torque, and not having that same degradation against the battery. This, I think, is really key as we move into that transition for electrification. For Exro, we are all about our technology and how we look at solutions and how we work with everything from a scooter to a bus to larger. Our technology can go into any type of clean electric vehicle. So that means it can go battery, it can go plug-in hybrid, it can go hydrogen fuel cell. For us, what really matters is the application. As we look today to join the conference and to speak about it, we really wanted to speak a lot about where we've come as a company, how we've really led the change in electrification, taking a new product to market in a very traditional world. It's not easy. It's been really difficult for us to be able to focus in. We have an enormous target market that we could go after beyond just the electrification industry itself. Any application that needs that wide torque range with speed is a great application for us. And so we've really tried to do 3 key things to grow our business. We've really focused a lot on our culture. So I came into Exro about 15 months ago. Previous to joining Exro, I'd spent my career with GE. I'd been there for about 9 years. I worked my way up from a sales manager in Western Canada to a Canadian sales leader to a North American sales leader, and then up to the business a CEO out of Houston, Texas. I then led the acquisition of the business in 2017 to a company called Wolong Electric, where I was the CEO of the GE Industrial Motors Group, a Wolong company. So as I came into Exro last year, what I really wanted to do is create a culture of perpetual innovation, of taking great innovation, applying it to the market, but we wanted that culture to be mixed with execution. So while we're innovating, we also put a lot of time into making sure that we're executing and that we're doing cost-effective solutions to really help our partners be able to make the transition. And that's all driven through our business plans. We spend a lot of time working. We have a completely transparent business plan. We work with everybody on our team to make sure that we're driving goals and strategies that will take us not just to short-term goals, but to long-term goals. We listen to customers in our pipeline. We're very optimistic about the relationships that are up and coming to make sure that we execute against those goals. And then, of course, a great product. I think the world needs great products. We need to be able to come up with things that help vehicles change to electric, that consider the real world applications, the real world issues that we're having today with batteries degrading in cold weather, with batteries degrading as we climb up hills, with motors not being able to keep up or perform as they're supposed to. But beyond that, we want to have the processes in-house that allow us to execute against what we need to do for our shareholders, making sure that we bring as much return as we possibly can for all of our stakeholders. For us, that's evolved around a very, very strong capital market and financial goal as well. We are proud to have a very strong bank account. We're proud to be supported by many shareholders that believe in our story and in our teams. But we also do educate ourselves and make sure that all of our executive team holds really top-notch financial acumen. Everybody's looking at, this is new tech and we want to stay focused on that, but how do we make money? How do we get to revenue? How do we get to EBITDA positive? And what are the steps that we need to do? We focus on measuring those steps and on pivoting to make sure that if something's not working the way we want, we're making the right choices for where we want to be in the future. And we hold people accountable. That doesn't mean that there's trouble or that we're going wrong on a path. It means that we're learning from each other and we're making the best moves for the company. The biggest thing that I think we've done over the past year is build credibility. I believe that through our engineering team, we were able to put out products that we validated, that we shared with the market. We were able to validate our 48 volt and our 100 volt. We were able to validate our battery management controller. And we continue to develop this product so that we can now go from deployment to commercialization this year. Today, we announced our development against the Potentia project. And while it was a little bit delayed due to testing and COVID delays with our test equipment, we were able to release it to test for the first time ever our coil driver working with an electric vehicle motor that now will be shipped out to Potentia today, and it will be able to be tested in their lab, in their car, in their vehicle, and continue to give us critical feedback to be able to commercialize the product by the end of this year. We're very optimistic about our pipeline and what's upcoming. We have some big milestones that we're looking to do in the coming weeks and quarters as we deliver our Project to Zero motorcycle, one of the top electric motorcycles on the market today, in the second quarter. It was initially scheduled for the very end of March. We will be delivering at the very beginning to mid-April, so right at the beginning of the second quarter. In the second half of next year, we're delivering our driver to an electric garbage truck for C Electric. We're very excited about our partnership with C Electric and being able to bring this technology to the municipal vehicles in North America and globally, and being able to show that what we have on the market today isn't just what we're going to have on the market tomorrow. Just like the market itself is evolving, just like our government regulations are evolving, just like society is evolving, our technology is evolving with the company. From a partnership perspective, those key 3 partnerships is what we're working with, but we stay partnered with Motorino for further development. We're looking at commercializing that operational validation through different bike customers in this year. We're looking at signing with a more strategic partner in the second half of this year. We're looking at uplisting so that we can create more exposure to our stock and our story and our great tech. And most importantly, we continue to execute on our pipeline so that we can build a strong backlog so that we can get to financial security with revenue and EBITDA in the coming years. And with that, Stelios, I'm going to go ahead and open it up and see if you guys have any questions or if there's anything else I could talk about. I will just say from a final perspective for those that are listening, from part of the series perspective, you know, one of the biggest things that my team talks about as we build our culture and we really think about how we do things is, I think from a leadership perspective, the most important thing is who you surround yourself with. I am here today because I have a phenomenal team of people that work day and night to help me meet our commitments, that are as invested in the company as I am. And we've been able to recruit in a phenomenal group of people to do that with. And I think the ability to say, I'm not great at power electronics engineering design, but Eric, as my chief engineer, is, I'm not great at how I brand it, but somebody else is, and be able to pull that all together is really what sets the companies apart nowadays.
Sue, it's an extremely interesting space, and thank you very much for sharing with us these very insightful updates and everything that you and your team, it's always, as you said, a team effort, and we have to be making sure that we make the most out of what we do, but and at the same time embrace and encourage the best in everybody and everything that everybody is able to do. You guys are doing a great job, and we are super honored to have you as part of the program. Sue, Exro is reaching an impressive number of addressable markets and mobility applications. Your work is changing the way people look at electric energy consumption and performance. And the technology can be applied to bikes, cars, trucks, among other types of vehicles. How scalable, as far as applications are concerned, is Exro's technology? And what have you envisioned for Exro in the future?
I envision that we'll be a market leader in power electronics, and we are completely scalable. It's one of the best things about our technology, and one of the main things that actually brought me to the company is the ability to be able to quickly scale our facilities, to the ability to scale our technology. We can do anything from an electric bike to a motorcycle, to a snowmobile, to a fleet truck, to a bus, to a traction locomotive. There's no limitation to how the switching technology scales. It's more around how we build out the topology of the drive itself.
And of course, as part of the whole process, strategic partnerships and alliances play also an important role. So strategic partnerships and alliances with electric motor and battery manufacturers, with car companies, with vehicle manufacturers. How important and how crucial are those for Exro and Exro's growth plan, these partnerships?
Extremely important. We've been working with customers in our pipeline for many months now to gather voice of customers and make sure that we're creating the products of the future and creating products that are needed in the market. And it's an enormous market. It's global. It's, like you said, automotive manufacturers, tier 1 suppliers, it's bike manufacturers, it's fleet vehicles themselves, municipal changeouts. So we're trying really hard to stay focused, especially at this stage of the company as we're just putting out the deployments. But we're really optimistic about what the second half of this year holds for us.
And of course, this is also an exciting time with many governments around the world introducing regulations that impact the use of internal combustion engines, encouraging the shift toward electric motors and zero-emission vehicles and systems. Could you expand a little bit more as to how this impacts Exro's growth plans?
Yeah, it's absolutely critical, and it's not always easy, especially from a leadership perspective, to take that time out when you're already so busy every day to, lobby our governments and speak with our governments to be able to make sure that as they're putting in these regulations, we're talking to the realistic ways that we can do things. So I think the more involved even small companies can be with positioning ourselves and not being afraid to step up and to say we're here to make a difference. I mean, we're positioned in Calgary, Alberta, so we are here to make a difference. We're drawing jobs. We're creating awareness to our governments in Canada, in the US, and globally to say that there is different ways to do things than the way we're doing them today, and they exist.
And of course, the focus right now is on perfecting the technology, expanding the business, developing and confirming alliances. And you guys are listed on the OTC markets through OTCQB, right? And yes. What do you feel it may, as part of your strategic growth plans and steps toward the future, are you considering, what could the future entail? Are you considering a potential uplisting, or what could, if you could share with us?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share with you. So of course, everything that we do has to be done at the right time. Our finance and our CFO have to make sure that it's the right thing for all of our stakeholders and our shareholders. But we've long said that we'd like to be uplisted to NASDAQ. We're looking into that, and when it's the right time, we'll make sure we do that over the coming year. And then an uplist to the TSX main board is definitely on our schedule and has been long spoken about. We hope to complete that in the first half of this year. And so we're feeling pretty confident about where we are in both of those stages.
Sue, it has been a great presentation. Thank you very much again for your time and for your presentation and for your participation at the Leading Entrepreneurs of the World series. Congratulations to you and your team for having developed such a pioneering and disruptive technology that helps accelerate the global transition to clean energy toward a better future for the planet and the world. Thank you, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.